Hey guys, what's up? It's Duel This Go, and today we're going to be doing a Marincess deck profile. This Marincess deck has been extremely good to me, and I like this deck. I would recommend for a tournament. My Ice Barrier deck profile I would not recommend for a tournament. But yeah, let's get on into this. So first for the main deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Blue Tang. Marincess Blue Tanks says that when this card is summoned, you are able to send 1 Marincess card from the deck to the graveyard, and when this card is link summoned, you can excavate the top 3 cards and get 1 from your deck, and then shuffle the other 2. And this card is really good because it lets you it opens a lot of plays up for you, and it helps you with summoning and doing other crazy plays. Now we're going to be playing 3 copies of Sea Star, because with the whole Marincess deck, your goal is to try to get your monsters to get a bunch of attack points and then punch them in the face. So this is a Water Cypher deck and has some of the best art in the game, I would say. This card, it says when this card you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then target 1 Marincess monster you control. It gains 800 attack until the end of the turn, and then you can only activate this effect up to twice per turn, which is good. That's why you're going to play 3, so that you can just make your monsters gain attack points. And you can use it twice per turn, not just once per turn. Next, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Mandarin. What Mandarin does is, if you control 2 or more Marincess cards, you can special summon this to where a link monster points to. And the special summoning in this helps you link climb to get to your rank or your scale 4. And then we're going to be playing 3 copies of Seahorse, so that you can... Seahorse basically just lets you special summon this card to wherever a link monster is pointing to. And it says you can special summon this card from your hand to your zone a Marincess link monster points to. You can only special summon Marincess Seahorse once per turn this way. During your main phase, except this turn, during your main phase, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from graveyard, special summon 1 water monster from your hand to a zone Marincess link monster points to. You can only use the effect of Seahorse once per turn. It's really good because you can link climb with it, and you can basically get 2 monsters out of it. And that's kind of cool. 2 copies of Dupe Frog. Dupe Frog says, this card becomes Des Frog. While this card is on the field, monsters your opponent control cannot target monsters' attacks for monsters except this one. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 frog from your deck to your graveyard. From your deck or graveyard to your hand, except Dupe Frog. That's why I added 3, so you can search for your... or 2, so you can search for your frogs. Now we're going to play 2 copies of Basilima. Basilima has 2 effects. If a monster you control would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use the effect of Marincess Basilima once per turn. You can banish, and then its first effect is that you can banish 1 Marincess trap from your graveyard, add 1 Marincess trap with a different name from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can target 1 face-up monster you control. It gains 600. Marincess Basilima can help you with OTKs in this deck, and it can help you get out your Marincess Wave, which is a big part of this deck. And you want to get to the scale 4, so I think Marincess Basilima can help with that. Now we're going to be playing 2 copies of Fishborg Launcher. Fishborg Launcher, basically, if you don't have any other Fishborg Launchers in your graveyard and all monsters are in your graveyard are water, you can special summon a card from your graveyard. Now we're going to be playing 3 Rodent Totem, which lets you with 3 rodent totem, which lets you, this card cannot be used with sync material. This card becomes Des Frog while this card is on the field. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 1 frog from your graveyard, special summon this card, which is really good. 1 Des Frog and 1 Silent and Angler or Swamp Frog. And Swamp Frog says you can discard 1 water monster to special summon this card from your hand. While this card is summoned, you can select and send 1 monster, 1 level 2 or lower Aqua type monster from your deck to the side of your graveyard. Once per turn, you can return 1 monster you control to your hand to normal summon 1 frog, except Swamp Frog or Frog the Jam, in addition to a normal summoner set. That's going to be it for the monsters. And next we will play, or we're going to go into the traps. We're going to be playing 3 copies of Marincess Wave, and Marincess Wave is the big trap in your deck. That's why it helps. Marincess Wave says, if you control a Marincess Link monster, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negate the face-up monster's effects until the end of this turn. Then, if you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess monster, all face-up monsters you currently control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. You can only if you control a Link or 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand. The thing with Marincess trap cards is that you don't need to wait 1 turn to activate them. You can just activate them straight from your hand, which is really cool. 2 Marincess Current. When a Marincess Link monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the Link rating of that monster you control times 400. Then if you destroy an opponent's Link monster by battle while you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal or higher, and then you can target 1 Marincess. You can only use this once per turn, and if you control a Link 3 or higher, you can activate this straight from your hand. 2 Marincess Cascade. Banish any number of Marincess Link monsters you control until the next standby phase, and target 1 face-up Marincess card on the field. It gains attack equal to the total rating of the monster banished. To activate this card, times 300 until the end of this turn. You can, if you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand. With all the Marincess Link, or with all the Marincess cards, you can activate them straight from your hand. I probably would actually do 3 current. I have another current. I need to go add that to my deck. I just made modifications, and I got wave and current confused, so I'm going to add another current. Probably take out the wave. Then we're going to be playing 2 Eshi Haben. I don't know how to pronounce that. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right. If a non-water monster is normal or special summoned while you control a water monster, change the summoning monster to defense position. Which means while this card is activated, your opponent can only summon defense position monsters unless they play waters or summon a water monster. 3 Bottomless Trap Hole. 1 Marincess Snow, which says, if a Marincess Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, target 1 of those monsters, special summon 1 Marincess Link monster from your extra deck. While a lower Link rating than that monster, this card is treated as a Link summon. It is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. While you control it, you can only activate 1 Marincess Snow per turn. And then Call the Haunted. That's it for the traps, which you actually have a lot in this deck. Not as much as monsters, but still a lot. Now we're going to be playing the big Marincess Battle Ocean. That Marincess Battle Ocean is the best, probably the best card and the most handy card you need in this deck, and you definitely need 3. This card says, all Marincess monsters you control gain 200. Also, each one gains 600 for each Marincess card equipped to it. Monsters you control in extra deck, if you control monsters you control in the extra monster zone that were Link summoned using Marincess Crystal Heart as material are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. While when you link summon a Marincess monster to your extra monster zone, except during the damage step, you can equip up to 3 Marincess link monsters with different names from your graveyard to that link summoned monster. That lets your monster gain attack points, and then when you go to link 4, if you use Crystal Heart, that is pretty cool because your opponent cannot negate effects. 2 Cosmic Cyclone. Salvage, which basically says target 2 water monsters with 1,500 or less attack in your graveyard, add them to your hand, which is almost all of the monsters. Literally all of them. Except links. Well, some links. Surface and Cauldron of the Old Man. That's it for the spells. And then this is a pure Marincess deck with some frogs. So, yeah. Now we're going to be playing 2 Blue Slug, which says you need 1 level 4 lower Marincess monster to summon this. It's a link 1, and if this card is link summoned, you can target 1 Marincess monster in your graveyard except Marincess Blue Slug. Add it to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except water monsters. You can only link summon Marincess Blue Slug once per turn. And then 2 copies of Sea Angel. Sea Angel is basically your terraforming in this deck. You need 1 level 4 or lower Marincess monster. If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Marincess spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can only link summon 1 Marincess Sea Angel once per turn. So that's the link 1s. Now the link 2s are Coral Anemone, which says Marincess Coral Anemone, which you need 2 water monsters, and every card in your deck is a water monster. So, or every monster. You can target 1 water monster with 1,500 or less attack in your graveyard. Special summon it to your zone that this card points to. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except water monsters. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 Marincess card in your graveyard except Marincess Coral Anemone. Add it to your hand. You can only use the effect of Coral Anemone once per turn, which is really good because it lets you special summon to link climb. And then 2 Crystal Heart, which is kind of a shield, says 2 water monsters, and it's unaffected by your opponent's monster effects. While this card is in your extra monster zone during the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, if this card battles an opponent's monster, that opponent's monster is unaffected by card effects except its own. When this card or your Marincess Link monster this card points to is targeted for an attack, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard for the battle. You can your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage. If you really want to, you can bump up Crystal Heart to 3. I'm only adding it as a 2 because with Coral Anemone, I can just keep on special summoning it, and then with Surface and Salvage, it can just be special summoned. And then that's it for the rank 2. So we're going to go into rank 3s, which is 3 copies of Marbled Rock. Marbled Rock is 2 water monsters, and it says you can target 1 Marincess card in your graveyard except Marincess Marbled Rock added to your hand. You can only use the effect of Marincess Marbled Rock once per turn. When an opponent's monster clears an attack, you can send 1 Marincess card from your hand to the graveyard for the battle. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage. And then for the Link 4s, 2 copies of Marincess Great Bubble Reef, which, in my opinion, this is the main boss monster. But I only have 2 because it is a 4. And it says once per turn during each standby phase, you can banish 1 water monster from your graveyard or face up field. Draw 1 card for each. Draw 1 card each time a monster is banished face up. This card gains 600. For each until the card for each. Until the end of the turn, you can send one water monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon one banished Marincess monster. You can only use the effect of Great Bubble Reef once per turn. This card lets you banish cards and then get banished cards, and then with a bunch of and then you're going to be link summoning, which means that they go back to the graveyard. It's just such a good card. You could add 3 of. I only had 2 though, and because you still got your Marincess Wonderheart. Marincess Wonderheart says you need 2 water monsters, and once per turn during damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can special summon one of your Marincess monster cards equipped to this card. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from that battle. Equip that summoned monster to this card during the end phase. If this card is in its owner's possession, is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special one level 1 link 3 or lower Marincess card from your graveyard. So that is it for the extras, and that is actually it for the video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. See you guys next time. Goodbye.